Hello, everybody. Welcome to Roll 'em If You Got 'em. I am Dakota, and as always, joined with by Carl.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
In today's episode, we're going to do a little paint and play here with some Assault Intercessors. They are a Space Marine unit. They're basically a melee-focused type of unit. As we talk, I'll be painting them, and we'll be talking about them. So their main ability is, well, they carry chainswords for the most part. Sergeant gets a power fist or a power weapon or a thunderhammer and a special pistol. But their main ability is reroll a wound roll of 1, and then if an enemy is within range of an objective marker, just full reroll on the wounds. This is pretty good because it just lets you kind of trade up. It gives you kind of like a quasi twin linked, and then any type of character you really throw into them, they're also getting that ability. So it's pretty good. As of recording this right now, they're about 75 points per 5 as well. So it's a pretty cheap unit that you can throw on your list to get kind of a pretty good upswing with their melee ability.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And they're going off of them a little bit more too. So they, like I said, they're mostly just chainswords. Them being chainswords that are just strength 4, AP 1/1 damage aren't too bad. Just because they're gonna ignore any type of damage reduction, just being 1 damage. So if you go into something like Deathwing Terminators that are -1 damage, you don't care about their effect. In the reroll the wound roll, they essentially wound more times than not. Even though they're only strength 4 swords.
Sure.
So it's not too bad. I think they're fun. One of the main things that you play them out of, I'd say 2 right now, is you put them in a pulsar. So you take 5, you take an impulsor, which is the Space Marines basic transport that they fit in, and then you throw a character in them. And then you basically move them to an objective, jump out, kill something, most likely
Right.
die after the fact, but you've, in theory, like traded up where you killed something more important than you.
Right, because they really want to fight over objectives.
Yeah, at least give that like Space Marine assault. Space Marines are a little bit better at shooting in general. This gives them a pretty good like counter punch, melee punch
Okay.
to fight over the objectives, or at least have like guys standing on them. And they're OC2, which not a lot of Space Marine units are actually OC2, which is quite good for Space Marines.
Okay.
So talk about some characters that we're going to throw into them that are good fits. The first one I'd say is kind of the Primaris Captain. The Blood Angels detachments really like them in this because they give them a few other special roles. But their main thing is they have the Finest Hour ability, which lets them once per game. Essentially, they get +3 attacks and devastating wounds. And you put that on like a power fist. So all of a sudden you're 8 attacks, AP2, 2 damage, re-rolling everything. So you fish for, since you're strength 8, you're probably wounding on like 2s and 3s. You end up just fishing for 6s.
Sure.
To get
Why
those dead
not?
wounds to like go automatically through,
Yeah.
to not even allow a save. So it's a pretty good combo. You kind of just like take that whole package. It's 75 points for the unit, 80 points for the captain. It's pretty cheap for a whole package.
Yeah, it seems nice. What's his other ability here? Rites of Battle.
Yep.
Once per battle round, 1 unit from your army with this ability can be targeted by a stratagem for 0 CP, even if another unit from your army has already been targeted by the stratagem this phase.
Yep. So that ability is just generally good. Any type of battle tactic, obviously, you can use it on. Armor of Contempt is a battle tactic, so you
That's
can like double dip defensively. So
that's the first one that popped into my mind was
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So somebody say that in the shooting phase, maybe they're not going to shoot at this unit because they plan to charge it because they can kill it in charging it. Well, you armor contempt like your land raider or something, and then when it comes back to them, they're the only ones stepping out. You have that captain, essentially free armor contempt to like hopefully maybe you live through that melee engagement.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
he's pretty good. I mean, the captains are just strong in general, I'd say.
Sure.
So they can hit pretty hard. They have, like I said, you're taking power fists.
Right. All right.
Next character I'd say we put into him, kind of a generic one. I wouldn't say it's like a top level, but it fits, is the lieutenant. Essentially has the same basic weapon loadout to get a power sword, power fist. For the weapons, so not too bad. The lieutenant's ability is for lethal hits.
Mm-hmm.
So any 6s to hit, automatically go through. You don't even have to roll wound for. That's just generally good because then you're not going to target these guys with like a lance stratagem. But the main thing that I'd say that you'd want to potentially use this guy for is fall back and shoot or fall back and charge. It keeps them alive a little bit longer. Say they did get charged, they don't die. Well, you can fall back and still do stuff with them. Not maybe like the best, but it's just gives you more options to almost essentially always have these guys in like tactical doctrine if you run Gladius.
Right. You can fall back, shoot, and charge.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
With that, that's nice. So these dudes, they do come. They have the grenades keyword. Not many actual Space Marines unit. I didn't mention this at the beginning.
Yeah.
Not many Space Marines actually have grenades that you're taking. So shooting phase, they just have pistols, which you don't ever think about their pistols. You actually use a grenade strat with them, and they'll just
Sure.
do mortal wounds onto whatever.
Yep.
So it's just a lot of value. They can be targeted with a ton of things, and it works as well. So Lieutenant, not too bad, not the best, not the worst. He's kind of cheap too. He's like 65 points. So
Okay.
he kind of fits if you just kind of have a few points left over. Like, I'll run this if I'm not running these guys with captains.
Sure.
The next character we'll talk about is the Judiciar. I'd say he's a little bit better. He's probably right behind the captain as far as generic characters I'm going to take with him.
He definitely looks cooler.
He's definitely looks cool. He's one of my favorite models. But he has the fights first ability. So essentially, you get charged in melee. You get to fight before they fight.
Yes.
So even on your turn, say they don't have fights first, you get out your transport, you charge them, you fights and kill.
Yep.
If they don't shoot at you and they have to charge you, you fights first. You're now making them put shooting pressure on this cheap unit, which is 75 points plus a 70-point character. You're looking at 145.
Sure.
That they're going to have to actually like nothing shooting, but it can't really be inconsequential shooting. Like they'll survive through your basic bolt guns. But once you got to get in and try, you're probably going to have to melee them unless you overcommit on your shooting, which the rest of the army is going to be fine with because, like I said, it's a cheap package.
Yeah. There definitely seems like you got good return on investment here.
Mm-hmm. And going off of that, his swords is a dev wound sword. So that rerolling the wounds is going to be coming back into effect, where you essentially fish for sixes. He's most likely wounding infantry on twos because he is strength 7. So you fish for those sixes. He does have precision, so he can't cut out characters, and essentially get better.
Nice.
One of the next characters we're going to talk about, we're using Azrael. Kind of the same thing with the swords here. He's got a dev wound sword, a lot of attacks, high strength. Azrael, one of the best characters in the game in general. He just gives a free CP at the start of your command phase. He grants the unit a 4-up invuln. So all of a sudden, this unit that's kind of squishy gets their own invulnerable save, keeps them alive a little bit longer than they would. He also grants them sustained hits. So you take him either in like a 5-man or a big squad. You have either 20 attacks or like 40 attacks, essentially going into a unit with sustained hits. They can kind of kill a lot.
Yeah.
And take the punch back. So he's pretty good. I think there's a few other just named characters that would fit in him as well. I mean, not to go through all the named characters, but Dark Angels player Azrael, I think he's probably fitting the best. There's probably a couple out there that are pretty good as well. That I'm not
how many points is Azrael?
I believe he's like 105 right now, so he's a little bit more expensive.
Sure,
but you just get more for him.
Oh yeah, it seems like you'll get your money's worth.
Yeah, he's just good on his own.
Okay.
And then kind of the last character we're going to touch on that I put in due to basically our little horde mode that we have going, horde mode crusade, is a chaplain. So the chaplain, his thing is essentially going to be melee attacks, add 1 to the wound roll, and then like start at any phase, he can unbattle shock a unit. Not too worried about the battle shock. Cool thing is, with him, is you're basically always wounding on 5s versus whatever you're going after. So
right.
You go after something that's like a little bit too big, you're still wounding on 5s, rerolling everything, which is strong. In our crusade, I went into what the heck's a Tyranid Titan or whatever.
The Norn.
No, it was like the Hierophant or something like that.
Oh yeah. The Hierophant. Yeah.
This unit dealt like 15 wounds to one of those.
Yeah, it was much needed because that thing was
Yeah,
about to walk all over
yeah.
our side of the table.
I'd say he's like it's you're almost like doubling down on the same ability with +1 to wound and rerolling wounds, but it just I don't know, it's pretty good. I'm running him in the Horde mode Crusade just because I like chaplains and I wanted to use them. And he's pretty cheap as well. He's like 65 points, I think, for himself, or 60 points, 60, 65 points, somewhere in there. And he's just good. His melee weapon's pretty good. Well, decent, I should say. 6-1-2. So get some multi damage with him. So it's not too bad.
Hell yeah. All
Uh,
right.
so, Carl, you got any questions about Assault Intercessors?
I do not believe I have any questions on Assault Intercessors. We did talk about the Horde mode, which is a lot of what we're painting and prepping right now. People want to check those out. We got the live streams coming. They're going to be kind of far between just because you can go watch our previous videos on the Horde mode. We're doing like a escalation league style, like painting requirements for it just to kind of keep each other honest sort of thing. So a lot of fun. How many units of these guys you think you would run normally, and then how many you think you are going to be running in like a Horde mode game?
So I think in like a normal list, I'd probably run like 2 sets of 5 at most right now. You could probably do a few other configurations where you either take more of them, maybe you don't take any of them. They're just a pretty good flexible unit right now. So if I was using them, I'd probably run like 2x5 in like the Blood Angels detachment because they make their swords like strength 6 and they do some other cool stuff
Gotcha.
with captains. In the Horde mode Crusade right now, I think I have like 2 designated for it. One of the units may or may not die, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. They're pretty fun in Horde mode because everything essentially plays on objectives, so their abilities just work naturally well.
Right. Hell
so,
yeah.
So it's a little bit gamey, but it works.
Right. Hey, you know what? When the Horde can just drop a hero fan in round 2,
Yeah,
we're allowed to be gamey.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for checking it out. Let us know if you like these paint and play style kind of things. If there's anything particular you would like to see, and check out some of that Horde mode content that we got coming. It's been a lot of fun thus far. It's going to continue to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to get pretty crazy in our Horde mode crusade.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Like Carl just said, check everything out.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.